If you are someone who discusses Christianity with people who are not believers, specifically atheists or something along those lines, you are going to find that something's going to come up pretty quick, and that is the problem of evil. And so really quick, I just want to lay out what actually is the problem of evil and where does the debate actually lie. Because many people who discuss or bring up the problem of evil often don't understand the actual argument. And two, Christians sometimes responding also don't understand the actual argument. So I just want to lay this out really quickly. Now, the academic problem of evil is not to be confused with, say, the pastoral problem of evil. The way you answer those things are going to be completely different. If someone walks up to you and says, "Look, my life's falling apart right now. Why is all this terrible stuff happening to me?" You are not going to give them the answer to the academic problem of evil. You are going to give them an answer that just explains to them what God might be doing through all of this. So we keep those things in mind. And what I want to talk about right now is actually the academic problem of evil. So what is it? What is the problem of evil academically? Well, basically there is a set of beliefs that Christians hold to, known as the theistic set. It's a set of about 6 premises or propositions which say this. 1, we believe God exists. 2, we believe that God is all-powerful. 3, we believe that God is all-knowing. 4, we believe that God is all-good. 5, we believe that God created the world. And 6, we believe that the world contains evil. And so an opponent of Christianity is going to come along and say, that set is contradictory, and therefore Christianity is false because it's logically contradictory. Now, here's the real issue. This is where the actual debate lies. This set is not explicitly contradictory. It may be apparently contradictory. It might look like it contains a contradiction, but it doesn't explicitly contain one. An explicit contradiction would be something like this. If we believe that God exists, God's all-powerful, God's all-good, God's all-knowing, God doesn't know all things, and God created the world, there's an explicit contradiction in there because we said God knows all things and then we said God doesn't know all things. Something about that set cannot be true. So what the opponent of Christianity must do in order to make this explicitly contradictory is they must add a premise to make it so. And one that is often added is something along this lines. Well, an all-good, all-knowing, all-powerful God would remove evil as much as is possible with Him. And since He's all-knowing and all-powerful, He could remove it completely. But here's the thing. The premise they add to make it explicitly contradictory must be a premise that Christians actually believe. And that is not something Christians believe. Because Christians believe God may allow evil for a certain good or for certain reasons. And so the entire argument is based on this. They must add a premise that makes it explicitly contradictory. And this has never been done. Not one that Christians actually believe. Now, in response, the Christians can do something. We can come up with a premise that shows that this is logically consistent. If we do this, then we show there is no problem of evil, and there's no problem whatsoever, so this whole thing's a ruse, basically. And so, if we add a premise, this is what's known as a theodicy. And there have been several premises that have been given as theodicies to discuss why this set can be consistent. And one of the premises, well, God allows it because of free will. There's a free will theodicy. There's another one known as the soul-making theodicy, that God allows this to work in His children, certain characteristics or whatever, as He makes them into the image of Christ. There's different ones that have been given. And if you're interested in reading up on some of those, I recommend the book Faith and Reason by Ronald Nash, where he covers this in a chapter. But that's the entire debate. It is on the additional premise. The opponent must add one that Christians actually believe that makes it inconsistent, or the Christian can add one to show that it is consistent. And so, really, until one of the other, or basically, until the opponent of Christianity shows an additional premise. There is no problem here. First of all, that's the thing to remember. But we can go ahead and do some work on our end just to overcome this, so there's no problem whatsoever either. Another thing that we need to keep in mind, and I think this is really good when it comes to something that Carl F.H. Henry said. He said, look, there is absolutely no problem of evil whatsoever unless you show that God actually commits one of the evil acts that he forbids. And that you will never see. It is always the secondary causes. You know, we get into things like primary and secondary causation. God is the primary cause of all that exists. But he also created secondary causes. That's us. And we're the ones who actually do the evil acts. So until also it can be shown that God is the one doing the evil act, there is no problem of evil there either. But those are just some things to keep in mind as you think through this, or when you hear it come up. I'm not here to answer it completely. This thing, long books have been written on this, and I'm not going to be able to exhaustively cover it in a 5-minute video. Besides that, I don't think I'm smart enough to exhaustively cover it at all. But just something to think about. God bless.